Hey, this is Ryan from Web Eminence. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, how long does it take to have success in a Google Ads account? I get asked this question a lot. The way I usually answer it is I tell people that with Google Ads, you can get results within hours, days. That's one of the great things about it is you could turn on a campaign, you can get a phone call the same day, a few hours later. So that's awesome. But one of the things I also tell people is that it usually takes 2 to 3 months to fully optimize a Google Ads account and really understand the fullness of what you'll be able to get from that ads account. So I'm going to show you a real account that I just launched in the last 3 to 4 months. And it's a good example of an account kind of ramping up, going through some growth pains, and then eventually having success. So I'm going to show you 3 things in this specific account that are good examples of typical things that happen in the beginning of an account that lead to success. So I want you to focus on this overview right here. I'm going to turn on and off certain metrics so that you can kind of see the ramp up period. A lot of people call it a ramp up period because you're literally ramping up with results, conversions, clicks. In this case, looking at weekly numbers here. We're going back to May of this year and then up until September 23rd. So we're actually talking almost 4 full months here. We were actually paused here actually due to a hurricane in the area of this client. So we lost a week or 2 there. But yeah, call it 3 to 4 months of time here. And you can see clicks in blue kind of ramping up, relatively stable, but they are increasing over time. And then conversions really ramping up from minimal in the beginning to kind of medium, and then really showing some success here in the last month. And I'm going to kind of show you why that happened. First thing that happens in the kind of life cycle of any new Google Ads campaign, assuming it's being managed well, is that negative keywords are being added. So this is a legal account. It's a divorce lawyer in Texas. And if we look at the first month of data, which was June of this year, you're going to see a lot of competitor names coming through. There's different reasons for that. There's also things like free, that need to be blocked early on. But I'm just marking some of the individual lawyer names that were coming through. It's, it's not the majority of them, but it's a good number of clicks. And this is more common in some industries, and I definitely see it a lot in the legal industry. Sometimes your bid's not high enough for the industry, so that Google's trying to give you click volume. And the best way to get that is to give you cheaper clicks, which could be competitor names. So you can see a bunch of them here. It actually is a pretty high percentage of the impressions and the clicks. And so those were kind of coming in during this period. We're at a good number of clicks, but not a very good conversion rate. And if I turn on the CPC, which is the average cost per click, yellow line here, you can see I was paying less in the beginning. I think we had a lower bid, and we are paying more per click now, but you'll see getting actual better results. You can try to add some negative keywords preemptively, kind of guessing at what people might be searching for that you don't want to show ads for. But the reality is the best way to add negative keywords is to add them after the fact. Once they come in, you just have to block them. I did another video covering the most efficient way to add negative keywords so that you can move forward faster and get through this kind of ramp up period faster. So definitely make sure to check out that video. I'll link to it in the description. So the second thing that typically happens in that ramp up period of 3 to 4 months is raising bids and budget. So a lot of times you realize that your clicks or your bids are just too low and you're not getting enough clicks. Sometimes I need to convince clients that they're just not spending enough to get any results. So I think on this account, we raised budget right around here. If I turn on cost, you can kind of see it ramping up. I think we raised it just a little bit. Still spending $200, $300 a week, which is not a lot in the legal divorce industry. So starting to get some results here. Some of that was from adding in the negative keywords in this period, but raising bids and budgets definitely is a key thing that you need to do in that ramp up period to kind of have success in Google Ads. This is going to allow you to get more exposure throughout the day and higher on the page, which is going to allow you to show, your ad more prominently with more assets. So you can kind of see in this second, third month period here, conversions were higher. Clicks are definitely ramping up. Conversions are just a little bit more consistent. And that's a combination of these two things we're doing, eliminating negative keywords and also, raising bids and budgets just slightly to get more volume. So going into this last month, it was actually around August 31st. So right around here is when I turned on smart bidding. So in this case, it was maximize conversions, and eventually I added a target CPA, which is what we're willing to pay for a lead. It's just a per lead bid rather than a per click bid. So I've done other videos on smart bidding. I'm not going to cover it all here, but smart bidding takes into account different factors that are leading to conversions in order to get you the most conversions for your budget. So a lot of people are kind of hesitant to turn on smart bidding because you lose a little bit of cost control. It doesn't always work, but typically when I have good conversion data over a period of maybe 1 to 2 months, usually that means like maybe 30 conversions. 10 would probably be a minimum. But at this point, I probably had 15 or so conversions. So not a ton, but I was confident enough to turn on maximize conversions here. And you can see what that's done in the last month. Higher conversions, we are spending more. You can see on the cost in green. But if I turn on conversion rate in green, you'll see how the conversion rate has really jumped. So we were kind of getting 10%, 6%, but kind of averaging around 7 or 8% conversion rate, to now we have a week with 20%, as high as 28%. Last week was 15%. So really the only thing that changed here, even though I'm continuing to add negative keywords, which is also kind of ramping up the success, the biggest change here was switching to maximize conversion. So I use it on most of my accounts, most campaigns that have good conversion data. I see it get the best results, and this is a good kind of case study of that here. It's still early. I expect this to kind of continue to ramp up a little bit, but I have the feeling we're going to kind of average out around the level we're at now. Over this entire period, we've been paying about $108 per lead, which is pretty good in like the divorce legal industry. And we have a week as low as $46. But I have a feeling we're probably going to average out in the $50 to $100 range per lead. So there's certainly other things that are going on in the first 3 to 4 months of an account, but that is the average amount of time that I typically see accounts take in order to see where they're going to average out in actually having success. And maybe by this time you realize that an account is just not going to be successful. But it's a critical period for sure, because a lot of people will give up in this first stage here. They might spend $500 and just decide it's not worth it. But I do encourage people, all my clients, to stick it out for 3 to 4 months, because that's when we can really see what the results are going to be. If you're looking for someone to manage you through this period and kind of deal with all the different factors, including the ones I mentioned, to get your account to this level of success, I'll link to my page that describes my Google Ads management service. I only have limited spots available, so make sure to submit the form on that page if you're interested. Make sure to also watch some of my other Google Ads videos. I'm sure they'll be helpful to you. We'll see you on the next one.